I was looking for the movie Ransom with Mel Gibson, and you'd be surprised because that is not online anywhere on any platform.
Really?
It's on Hulu, Cody.
What?
It's on Hulu.
Well, oh yeah, you have
What?
to. Yeah, you have to pay for the extra, the live.
Wow, Cody, I
Also-
just feel lied to right now.
I just googled Mel Gibson.
Give me back my gun! Well, welcome everybody to another episode of That Cousin Show. We are all in quarantine, enjoying our lives inside our homes, but we are desperate to get out of here and please rejoin the world. How's everybody else holding up out there in quarantine land? Luke, no, hold it, keep it together, Luke. Luke,
He's breaking
please.
down.
I think you're above me.
Oh no!
Oh my god!
That was fake, by the way. That was fake.
Yeah. Where's your permit for that?
Yeah.
I want to see it now. But yeah, how are you guys adjoisting to the quarantine life? As you can see, I've taken up drinking.
You're a loser.
All is well.
Cody's doing well. I can tell just by the
Oh.
look on his face.
You can
Just
tell
as
by the look
healthy?
at my face that I'm doing well. I've always been doing well.
I'm assuming everybody's working from home, right?
I was fired a while ago before the
Oh, well.
quarantine.
Had nothing to do with COVID.
You suck.
The old COVID-19.
COVID-19.
It's obviously a very bizarre time.
I am working remotely most of the time, but
Really?
I do
They're
have to
making
go
you
into
go
the
back in?
office sometimes, which sucks.
Ugh.
Wow.
Is that even legal? Is that even
Yeah.
like? Can they even do that?
Yeah.
Heck, man! What are these people making you do things?
Well, I work in banking, so it's a necessary like industry, I guess, and we have to be there. So, yeah, fun times.
It's very strange how this whole thing has been like. There's all these new terms and what happened, Cody?
Nothing. I don't know
What
why
is
I
it?
imagine like Luke going to work with like a tool belt to the bank, using a drill bit.
Cody has no idea who Luke is or what he does.
Which one of you is Luke, by the way?
Luke
just,
goes to the bank and just hammers nails all day.
Into
I'm
the
just the
ground,
handyman at a bank.
destroying the tile.
Yeah.
The bank is constantly under repair. But no, like it's really strange how like this whole thing, aside from it's just kind of a bizarre experience that everyone's going through, but it's also setting these new standards for how we will do things. And like there's all this talk now about how everyone's gonna be working from home, and now how everything's gonna shift into a new paradigm that we will now be in after COVID-19 suddenly goes away. But the thing that's weird to me is that like I'm all for us like banding together, even though we're not supposed to be together. But like us quarantining ourselves to disperse the amount of people that will get sick. But as soon as we get out of quarantine, it's not like the virus just magically will be gone. Like I know that we will have diminished the likelihood of more people getting sick, but like isn't there just going to be more of an uptick later when we all get released out of our cages here? So I'm kind of like, I mean, I'm not for like more people dying, of course, but like I don't know if we're really doing anything that's going to be effective in the long term. And of course, nobody else knows that, so I'm kind of like, what? So we're just all forced to stay inside and lose our jobs? That's kind of crappy.
Well, you got to write to your congressman and really, take these things into account.
Well, see, that's my problem. I don't know who my congressman is.
Dean Witter.
Dean
Oh, it's
Witter
Dean
building.
Witter. Is it Dean Witter or Morgan Stanley? I can't remember who it is now.
It's Morgan.
Oh,
Sachs.
Joel's drinking a Corona beer. How fitting.
Hey.
Morgan
Joel.
Sachs.
That's right. I'm just gonna dive right into this virus.
Did Corona beer like go up in sales or down?
I think it went down initially, actually.
Did it really?
Because people like,
Yeah,
I think it
probably
did.
some stupid people thought it was related to the beer.
Yeah,
and
I heard
that
it
just shows
did.
the stupidity of that. This shows humanity at its most dumb, which is they're like, oh, Corona beer must be because of the coronavirus. Yeah, like, oh, that's where it's coming from.
I bet you they lived in Oklahoma too.
Yeah, probably something along those lines. But yeah, definitely a strange time.
I wonder if they were behind. I wonder if they were behind the movement of instead of calling it coronavirus, just Rona.
Yeah, that seems to be the new thing. Everyone keeps calling it the Rona. That's like the cool thing to
know.
say.
And Corona is behind it. I know it.
I hate
It
that
is a
so
cool
much.
name.
Well, it's all these different models that everyone keeps putting out there. Not like Instagram models, people. I'm talking about graphs and statistics. But all these different data points keep coming out every day, and they all contradict each other. So now everyone's just confused as to what's going on. But nonetheless, we're all watching Tiger King, and that was a pretty funny documentary. Who here has not seen that documentary yet?
I have not yet. Don't
Luke.
tell me.
Come
I have
on.
I have
What?
seen it.
You have seen it? I think you're the only one, Luke. We're going to spoil the whole thing for you. See, spoiler alert, there's a Tiger King in this thing.
I've heard and seen just about every comment there is to be had on this show. What boggles my mind is, was this always a thing that was just buried deep in Netflix and somebody just like found it? Or did it like happen to launch at the same time?
I think it happened to launch at like the
Yeah.
same time, and it was just a perfect storm. I honestly think if this had launched any other time, it would be like the what king? But
Right.
now it's like just blew up because nobody had anything else to do but watch this.
Yeah, well, like there's a funny meme. There's a billion memes about the show, but my wife just told me about this one. I haven't seen it, but apparently it's Trump addressing the nation saying like, all right, we need to lock everything down because of COVID-19, and then it just cuts to him like talking to one of his like advisors, going, "Launch the Tiger documentary."
Distract them.
Yeah. Because it literally came out, I think, 3 days after the quarantine officially was like official, and I was like, dude, that is the most perfect timing for a release of a film on Netflix. And I was just talking to my wife about that. Like, it's impeccable timing.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I don't know how
Yeah.
the filmmakers just be like, oh, like everyone is forced to stay home and watch this thing. Yeah.
This is amazing. Our horrible
I was-
documentary is going to get
I was
watched.
talking to Anise about a very similar thing where they just released. I mean, this was a few months ago now that they released it on Netflix, but it was literally called like Pandemic, and it was like all about like world pandemics and like when the next one's coming and how we should like attack it and stuff. And we like had just watched it, and then this happened. We're like, the heck?
Cue your
Freaking
conspiracy
documentaries
theory.
releasing the virus or something?
This is like classic. Any conspiracy theorist out there is going to be like, see, it was all planned. They all knew about it. It was too much of a coincidence. I
Right.
don't know, man. I just don't think people are that clever to come up with, these grand schemes like that. But, I don't know. Bunch of weird stuff happening in the world today, that's for sure. But Luke, you need to watch that documentary pretty quick. It's good. It might be a little overrated for you at this point, but it's certainly entertaining. I was very entertained by it.
You know what was not good about it was watching it with my parents, our parents.
Oh man.
Well,
Wasn't it
for-
like he's like just everything wrong with a human, like he has it, right? Like or not wrong, but like he just is like in bad situations all the time.
Yeah, he's just like mentally kind of out there and
Yeah.
just like has somehow built this life for himself that is just weird. It's just a weird scenario he put himself in.
Let's put it this way: like it has to, not a lot of people. I mean, there's a lot of people that do get offended by things, but if you're offended by something, there's got to be at least something somebody does in this documentary that you find like immoral at some point down the line. It doesn't have to be like everything, but there's at least something you're like, yeah, that's messed up. Like, what the heck is going on here? But it just kind of
it's
seems
like-
like it's a documentary about Florida Man or something.
Yeah. No, seriously, it's like every episode is like you try to like almost justify it the first couple episodes. You're like, oh, like he's just a businessman trying to make money. Like maybe everybody's too harsh on him, and then like the next episode it hits, and you're like, oh, maybe he's a little crazy. And the next episode hits, you're like, oh my gosh, this guy needs to go in prison right now.
Yeah, it's wild stuff. But yeah, I definitely recommend it for people out there that don't get offended by most things and can handle like a hard R type film. But it was certainly entertaining. So at
Is
least we
it
got
like
that
is
out of
it
But now there's nothing else to watch.
is it just a documentary? Like, is it a movie or is it a show?
It's a documentary like series. There's like 7 episodes, something like
Okay,
that.
gotcha.
It's very similar to like Making a Murderer. It has that same feel to it, where there's like you just can't look away. It's all these people out kind of like in the Midwest or the South that are not probably the typical personality that you run into like at the grocery store, and or at least where we're from. Cody, please. This is a
needed it.
podcast.
Cody's over it.
We made it barely 10 minutes into this podcast, and Cody's like, I'm over it.
F this.
I'm done with this. But yeah, it's certainly just a weird collection of people. And what's funny is that they're all now claiming, oh, it was all salacious, sold to it. It was just like in a weird way it was presented to us about how it was going to be this documentary of, freeing, tigers and trying to be like viewing their point of view. But I don't know. I don't buy the whole idea that the filmmakers like completely swindled them. I think it's probably like a happy medium. They probably came in and said, we want to make a documentary and just show us what your life is like. And then they filmed it and they're like, hey, you made us look bad. I'm like, maybe they didn't tell you exactly the angle they were going to shoot this in, but at the same time, that is your guys' life. I don't know how you hide the fact that you're like all into polygamy and all these really weird, shady things.
Dude, that's another thing that, I mean, this doesn't spoil anything, Luke, but especially one of the, I don't know, tiger keepers that they focus on, he is like this ladies' man, apparently. And I don't understand it whatsoever. Like, he doesn't look like a ladies' man. He doesn't act like a ladies' man, yet he has like 5 wives. and they're not like bad-looking wives. It's just like, how did that happen? How did you, like, what words did you say to make these girls be like, I want to marry you, I want to be your 4th wife?
Yeah, there's none about it makes sense. It's just a really bizarre experience, without question. Cody, what were your thoughts on the documentary? You saw it, right?
I didn't think much about it. I was kind of pissed off before that because I was looking for the movie Ransom with Mel Gibson, and you'd be surprised because that is not online anywhere on any platform.
Really?
Yep.
Like even to rent?
Not to rent, not to buy. It's not on Amazon. It's not on YouTube. No.
So you're saying the only place you can possibly buy it, I mean, could you buy the physical DVD on Amazon?
You could buy the DVD on Amazon,
Okay.
but yeah.
I was going to say, other than that, maybe the last Blockbuster in Oregon somewhere.
It's on Hulu, Cody.
What?
It's on Hulu.
Well, oh yeah, you have to. Yeah, you have to pay for the extra, the live.
Wow, Cody, I
Also-
just feel lied to right now.
Unbelievable,
what?
Cody.
Cody, you're just like Carol Baskin.
You putting a hit out on me?
I don't know why I'm laughing at that.
I just googled Mel Gibson.
Give me back my son!
That didn't get me where I went. Oh, and
mean-
Fubu. Oh, it is now. God, you know what?
No, oh, it's just the timing is what was off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
unbelievable.
See.
Well,
that.
I kind of knew it was on Hulu, but you had to pay for an extra add-on to get it, and it was like $400.
$400.
Oh my gosh, it's like they're holding it for ransom.
Oh, the Ransom add-on.
It's the Mel Gibson plug-in.
And you only get one Mel Gibson movie from 1996.
Yeah, but it's worth it.
Hey, it's
Dude,
got
why-
Darius Sinise in it.
Yeah. It was either that or Daylight. I couldn't decide.
With Sylvester Stallone. I'm telling you.
Yes.
Daylight,
Still
I actually have on physical DVD. I'm not joking.
I don't know his words. That or Hook.
I don't know if anybody's... Hook is on Netflix right now, and
Yeah.
it's a movie that we've seen 1,000 times, but for some reason, it's always just so tempting when it's there. Like, all I have to do is push play, and it starts. There's just something so enticing about that.
Yeah.
Like,
I know.
yeah, okay. I know every line, but it's not like I need to watch this again. But for some reason, if I just push one button, it's already playing. It's kind of it's so addicting like that. Netflix knows this. It drives me
It's
crazy.
convenience.
Yeah, it is convenient. What else have you guys been watching on Netflix? You guys, I'm sure we've gone through all the good stuff and everything else you've already seen 1,000 times. So now we're in like the weeds of trying to find anything online to keep us busy during the shutdown. And it's
Dude.
definitely an annoying process when you're constantly negotiating on which crappy movie you're going to watch with your spouse. You're like, which one we're going to watch? Joel, it might be different for you because you're currently with your folks because you just moved back from Seattle. Yeah, you're there in the interim, so you might have to settle with your folks, and I'm sure that's going to be a nightmare. Like trying to, if I had to pick a movie with my dad, I'd be like, I don't know, Dad, we're never going to agree on which movie we have to watch together. But it's like, that would be annoying.
Yep. No, it's bad. It's one of those things where you have to, like, you'll see something and you're like, oh, that's a good movie, and then you like have to run it through your head, like, is there an F word in it somewhere? Because if there is, can't watch it.
Yeah,
Or
like,
boob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never
Yeah, and
heard
that's why Tiger King was so hard to get through, because it was literally every F word that came out was like just everybody cringed in the living room. And I just stared at my mom.
Yeah. Just looking. Cody, were you offended by that documentary at all? Were you disgusted?
Yeah, I had to turn it off in the first 3 minutes. I just could not take it.
Those credits
Just my
were terrible.
sensibilities are just too much for that. Just couldn't take it. So I switched to Clockwork Orange, and I was all better.
Watch it twice in a row.
I'm gonna watch it after this. No, we've been watching You on Netflix.
We watched half the first season of that. It was
I
alright.
like it. I like it.
You know,
like
it reminds me of Dexter, but not as good.
Joel, debatable.
Just Dexter. Interesting. I don't know. I'm just
good.
not really into like watching shows, and even though this is a perfect time to pick up a show, my wife is really into them. But I don't know. I just have a hard time committing to them and like getting involved with the characters. And it seems like it's a long time before you realize that it might be a mistake.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I wasted all that time. Whereas if I watch a movie, it's only 2 hours. And worst case scenario, I'd be like, well, I just lost 2 hours, as opposed to I lost 10 hours because
Right.
the show just sucks. And that's
Yeah.
why I think shows are always a risky investment. But there are certainly some good shows out there. I'm always curious to find one. Like, there was an episode we did a while back where I talked about how I had never seen an episode of Game of Thrones, and I was waiting till the last episode, and I binge watched the whole thing. Loved it. I loved that show. I thought it was great. I actually was a fan of the last season. I know that's an unpopular opinion, but I actually enjoyed it. I was not necessarily too big on how they concluded everything, but the last season itself, I wasn't like too bad. I wasn't bagging on it. I wasn't really behind the whole hype about like how this season's terrible, but I also was in the rare group of people that watched it from beginning to end with no stops. And I'm sure people that had watched it in like sections or like on a weekly basis, that might have been a different experience. But I don't know. I personally was like, it's all right. But I'm looking for the next Game of Thrones. Is what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I think it was the people who like watched it as it aired. I think they had waited so long for like a perfect finale, because they obviously spend a lot of time and effort trying to think these episodes through. And I think everybody just felt like that was it. That was the best you can come up with. Like, there are so many other things you could have done especially the last episode or 2 episodes.
As a person that watched every episode as it came out, you're exactly right, Joel.
Yeah.
It was super disappointing. It was it was exactly that. Like every week we were like plotting and scheming. Like we had like diagrams on the wall. Like we had it all planned out and stuff, and every season was awesome, right? And then it was like, how are they going to end this thing? And not only that, but the last season was like 2 giant episodes, right? And they took like 4 years to make them or something like that. It was like some huge hiatus between the last the last 2 seasons. And that just didn't help the cause at all. It's like, really, we waited this long for like the worst 2 movies on the face of the planet.
Right.
Anyways.
Yeah, I didn't mind him. We could get into details. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but yeah, I definitely hear all the complaints that people have. So as soon as it was over, I was like, everybody like hated this, and I didn't like love it. I think there could have been a better conclusion to the whole thing, but I didn't walk away like disappointed. But yeah, I totally get everyone's beef about it. I can see their side of it. And Cody doesn't know what we're talking about because he didn't watch the show at all, and he's bored as heck. Cody, you seem like your camera's like kind of like in your lap. Seems like you're looking down on us.
Well,
Well, metaphorically.
don't get me started.
You're a loser.
Cody, I remember you saying that Breaking Bad was like one of your favorite TV series, right?
Yes, sir.
Did you watch? Is it El Camino? Is that what it's
Yeah,
called?
it's El Camino, yeah.
Yeah, El Camino.
What'd you think of that?
I think I feel the same way as a lot of people do in that it was entertaining, probably a little unnecessary, because he was in the same spot at the end of that show as he was at the end of the last episode. So it's probably not really needed, but still good.
That's exactly my take on it too. Is I thought this is really well done. I think this is good filmmaking, but did we need this? Not necessarily. Like I was just kind of like all right. Like I guess if you just want to make a quick buck, and if I was in your guys' shoes and I needed to make some extra money, I guess this is the way to do it. But I didn't think it served anything to the overall story. But I enjoyed it.
I don't know. I kind of liked it, I guess, a little more than you guys. Just, I feel like that his character, Jesse, like, there was very little or basically zero closure in the actual, like, end of the series, main series. Like, it was just, like, he was, I mean, if you haven't seen it now, I don't really care if I'm spoiling it for anybody. He's basically just, like, being tortured for however long he was being tortured for, and then, like, he was set free, and then it just, like, literally hard cut, and you never saw him again. Mm-hmm. But, like, that was it. Like, you didn't really, like, okay, where is he going in his life, whatever. So I feel like this movie, like, actually gave him closure. Like, yes, it added unnecessary drama, and, like, that's obviously the point of the movie, whatever. But at least, like, I think the last scene, like, helped you be like, okay, like, he's, like, kind of made terms with, like, where he, like, what he's done in the past and, like, where he's going in the future kind of thing, which I liked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's something that... Did you see it?
Yeah, so I thought it was pretty good. I think it was, like, I'm kind of in between, I think, Joel and you guys. Like, it was a cool, it was like an episode of Breaking Bad that was just, like, nothing really happened. Like, it was just a big, long episode of Breaking Bad, but it, like, brought back the vibe of that show and, like, some of the characters and stuff, and it was just, like, cool writing and cool scenarios and cool scenes. So I thought it was, like, pretty good. But yeah, I mean, to Coda's point, I don't really think anything much happened by the end of it, but emotionally, yes, Joel, he did kind of come to terms with what he went through. I guess that's a thing.
Yeah, and again, if anybody out there is watching or listening at this point, which I don't know what you're doing here, but if you haven't seen Breaking Bad yet, you're doing yourself a disservice. It is easily one of the best TV shows that's ever been made, and it's on Netflix right now. I think it's still on there. Pretty sure it is. So. And you should go watch it right now. Easily one of the best shows out there. I wish they were making more Sherlock, because I love that show. I love Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman, but they stopped making those because those guys are so freaking busy now making a billion different things. And I just watched a movie. I was telling Joel apparently had seen it. Have you guys seen 1917? It just came out in theaters like a couple months ago. Excellent movie. So good. Oh, I loved that movie. Yeah, excellent. Easy, probably the best movie of last year in my opinion. Like, I haven't seen like every movie, of course, but of all the ones I did see, that was easily my favorite. It was pretty freaking epic and so well done. So you guys who haven't seen it out there, I highly, highly recommend it. Amazing filmmaking.
Agreed.
Should we see it?
Yeah.
Though?
You should see that. You should see that before you watch Ransom with Mel Gibson.
No. No.
No.
No, I don't want to watch that at all.
I got a soft spot for the classics.
Cody, I want to know what gave you the urge to watch that movie again, Ransom?
Because I was trying to remember of a movie that we haven't seen in a while that's really classic like 90s, and that's the one I thought of. Good old like classic 90s action film.
Give me back my son!
The Ransom.
You can't beat
all
the 90s action film.
Of all the 90s action films, I would not have picked Ransom.
That movie's actually relatively slow. It's not even action packed. It's the action's at the end of that movie, but most of it's just them negotiating with the people doing the ransom.
Give me back my
It's kind of like Mad City, where it builds up, and it's just an epic fight at the end.
Dylan's shaking his head.
A movie no one's heard of, but I know exactly what he's talking about, and I hate that I do.
No, you don't.
Mad City with John Travolta and Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the top 90s action movie is Con Air, so I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Yeah, that's a classic, yeah.
Put
Hummingbird.
the bunny back in the box.
Hummingbird.
You know what 90s movie I actually had a craving to watch though was Air Force One.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Get off my plane.
Mom and Dad had the Blu-ray, and I stole it. So I have it.
You know what? You're welcome, because when we first moved in here, the first day, I was going through the closet, and there was like a whole bunch of DVDs back there, and there was Air Force One on Blu-ray, and they were gonna throw it out. It was like in the trash pile. I was like, I'm not throwing this out. Like I'm not gonna keep it, but I'm not gonna throw it out either.
Doesn't deserve to be thrown out.
Yeah. So apparently she gave it to you, which is fine. But yeah.
So I have this app, and let me know if you guys have used this before. It's called Voodoo. Have you heard of this?
I've heard
Yes.
of it, but I haven't used it.
So it pairs with another app called Movies Anywhere, and basically, if you have the disc of the movie, a lot of times you can scan the barcode and you can repurchase it for like $5 or $3 or something like that. It's like really cheap, and it will essentially purchase it in your Amazon video library, and it'll sync with like all other platforms. So it'll sync with iTunes, everything else basically. So yeah, I've been systematically doing that. Like any old DVD that we have, like I'll just go through and like I'll like pay $5 and it'll go into my Amazon library. So all of my DVDs are now digital. That's what I did with that one. It's awesome.
Interesting.
Thank you, Voodoo.
I might have to do that because me and
Not
my
a
wife
sponsor.
have been. We've been.
plug.
There's an old joke online now that I forget which. It's like one of those parody accounts, like Onion or something like that. Said people in quarantine are recommended to watch the extended versions of Lord of the Rings. Just to keep themselves busy because it's going to take them forever because they're so long, of course. But my wife is a huge fan of Lord of the Rings, and we have the DVDs. But one of them, we tried to watch one of them like a couple weeks ago, even before the quarantine, and it wasn't working. So I was like, gosh dang it! So we just kind of abandoned ship. But we've been talking about how we need to we just need to start investing in all the digital versions. Like DVDs obviously are a thing of the past. But everyone has this collection of them. And I was like, I wish there was a way that I can convert all of these. So maybe
There you go.
this is the way. So Voodoo, I'll have to look into that.
Voodoo, yeah, VUDU. It's awesome. Yeah, we did the exact same thing. Alexis is also a fan, or we both are, and she had all the extended versions. Mm-hmm. And every year we do 2 marathons religiously. We do a Lord of the Rings marathon, now including The Hobbit, and we do a Harry Potter marathon during Christmas. And the last couple years, we've systematically, as the DVDs have like been like scratched or whatever, or they'll skip, we'll just like go and buy the digital copy. So like every year we just keep adding to the digital. So now we have all the movies are digital, which is awesome.
So Luke, when you do these marathons of Lord of the Rings, and you do it with Harry Potter, which marathon do you much rather prefer?
That's a good question. Now here's the thing. This is the reason why that's a really tough question to answer.
There's only one correct answer here, though.
And we all know it, except for you.
Dang it. Well, Harry Potter takes place during like Christmas time. Like we watch it in the month of December. So there's obviously like memories and like things associated with that movie marathon, right? Like it's become a tradition.
Yeah.
So it's kind of transcended. It kind of transcended just the fact that they're like movies. But I think I prefer Lord of the Rings if we're talking about just the movies.
That was the correct answer, Luke. You answered correctly.
Well, of course.
No, to be fair, I actually do like the Harry Potter movies for the most part. I don't go around watching them on a regular basis. I did enjoy, my favorite's the last one, just because it ends. but for the most part, I think they're pretty well-made movies. But yeah, I'd pick Lord of the Rings any day of the week. But yeah, that would be an interesting one to marathon. But yeah, her and I have been talking about, like, all right, now is the perfect time to marathon stuff because we don't have anything else to do. So let's just start watching stuff. I kid you not, Joel and I just watched recently Mortal Kombat again with our spouses. I'm not kidding. And it's only because his wife, Joel's wife, Anissa, has not seen Mortal Kombat. So it was a perfect opportunity for me to revisit that classic movie. And
It was. I mean, before she had seen it, it was this close to divorce. So that movie saved us.
if it weren't for Scorpion, it just would have been all over. It would have been downhill for you.
Yeah.
Cody, when was the last time you watched Mortal Kombat?
Funny you mention. I don't know if you've heard of a YouTuber named Jeremy Jans.
Yeah. I know him very well. I know him. We go way back, him and I.
What?
You're a loser.
He did a he did a review of Mortal Kombat Annihilation, and I watched it literally 2 days ago. And it was incredible because he pointed out things I didn't even notice. I mean, I knew it was bad, but I had no idea.
I saw that one too. He was talking about the clipping in the green screen they were using.
Green screen.
Just like it's that bad. Yeah, something
Yeah.
to where you're like, I can't believe someone watched this after they made it, and they were like, let's release this.
Yeah.
Horrible.
It's just funny, the acting too, like Shao Kahn,
Yeah,
whatever his name is. Yeah.
like trying not
It's
to
hilarious.
laugh through takes. It's pretty bad.
I don't. You know, it's always funny too. Like when that movie came out. I mean, we always thought that like it wasn't as good as the first one, obviously. But when it came out, we were probably like, it's not terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like it was bad, but it's not terrible, sort of thing. But now it's like watching it, it's like how do we actually stand watching the whole thing? Because that movie is bad.
It is horrible.
Garbage. Just watching we watched the trailer of it the same night, just because we wanted to show Anissa like, don't watch the well, obviously she's not gonna watch the second one anyway. But we were just like talking about how bad it was, and we had to watch the trailer for it, and it's embarrassing to even watch.
Yeah,
It's so bad.
It's pretty terrible. It's something to where like I have talked about it on many times on the show where I am a huge fan of the first one. I openly admit it's not a good movie. It's just cheesy, but it's at least competently made in the sense that the music is pretty good. The fight scenes are still pretty impressive. The sets are pretty cool, and there's some like positive attributes about it. But none of that can be said about the second one. The second one's just bad. Like maybe the music, maybe like that's a stretch. But yeah, it's just horrible across the board. But yeah, Joel's right. Like we watched that probably when we were 10 years old. We thought it was the coolest thing ever. But then again, yeah, like I'm sure there's a lot of movies we could revisit that are not Mortal Kombat. We look back and be like, we liked this as a kid. Like, I can't believe this. But it's a very rewatchable movie to me, the first one at least. And I think something like I was thinking about the other day is as far as like what good movies are that you really like. There's a difference between a good movie and a movie that's really rewatchable. Like I can name a good movie that I don't want to ever see again.
Yeah.
It's a commitment to watch it. Like The Godfather is a movie that I think is excellent. It's as good as everyone says it is, but it's not like, hey, you want to sit down and watch The Godfather? I'm like, no, that sounds like a heavy night. Like it's gonna be a long process, like a 3.5 hour movie. But if you wanted to watch like Joel said, Air Force One, like hell yeah, put that on. I want to see that right now. Or like Back to the Future, something.
Get the TV dinner ready.
Yeah.
Eat dinner right in front of the TV. Hell
Just
yeah.
something like we watched one of the Indiana Jones movies, and I was like, see, these are why movies are so good, is because they're so rewatch. Like you could watch this over and over. There's something about it so enticing, and I don't know what it is.
Right.
Some movies have that, and some don't. Even the good ones. It's like really weird.
Yeah, nobody's starting Schindler's List right after it finishes.
Yeah. Gotta see this again. Like it's just a masterpiece. I mean, it is a masterpiece film, but you're like, yeah, I'm not gonna turn on that again.
Right.
I really want to watch this twice. Yeah, no thanks.
Speaking of movie marathons, my wife and I are at the tail end. In fact, we're in the middle of Endgame. We've watched every single Marvel movie.
Whoa.
Over the last I think 2 months or something like that. Yeah.
Just going through the whole Marvel universe. Are there some of those films that you look back on and you go, this isn't as good as I remember?
Yes. There are. Well, actually the first and second Thor. The second Thor especially is like garbage it's like a horrible movie. Like it's not good at all. The first Thor is also not very good, and it was like worse than I remember it. I was like, I was watching. I was like, it was like really cheesy. It was kind of like there were a lot of scenes that are just like really poorly done, which is weird because in contrast, like Thor Ragnarok is like probably my favorite Marvel movie of all time. So
that movie's funny. It's a really fun movie.
It's awesome. But yeah, that is a commitment. That is a lot of hours of watching movies.
That is 22 movies. Jeez Louise. Talk about definitely a lot of things to do. Speaking of movies, Cody, how's your movie doing out there in the world? I saw Cody just posted a blooper reel at the time of this recording. This was today. He posted this of fake bloopers, quote unquote fake bloopers.
Some of them are real. Most of them are real.
I could tell some of them were real. But it's just weird because, again, like, if you guys haven't seen Cody's movie called The Exigency, you can watch it on Amazon right now if you want to. It's gotten a lot of reviews online, but it is our voices playing some of the characters, and we recorded our voice for this 10 years ago, roundabouts, something like that.
It'd be more than that. That would be 12. 11. I don't know.
And for context,
whenever that was.
Yeah. So for context, we recorded our voices for Cody's movie 10 years ago, and he just released the movie 3 months ago. So there's definitely a huge gap in time there, but it's very, very good. And I don't believe Joel's seen it yet. I'm calling Joel out right now. You know, he just doesn't care.
I haven't seen it yet. I watched the blooper reel though.
Joel, I don't even care.
Right before we came on. You know what bloopers were cracking me up was Dylan's bloopers. That's freaking just the way you animated his face to what his actual blooper was cracking me up.
It was pretty funny. Yeah, there was a few in there that I could tell that I was like, I could tell this is like a mashup of a blooper, and you made a gag out of it, which is like my character, like the whole farting thing I did with that one guy. As far as I can recall, I didn't fart when we were recording, but I mean, I wouldn't put it past me, but nonetheless. I wouldn't put it past me.
I think you did, but it wasn't loud enough, so I had to put a fake one in there.
Well, I don't know whether or not to be embarrassed or just be ashamed. Wasn't loud enough. Oh, man. Puny little farts. But,
By the way,
it's
we
out
have
there.
to record voices for the next one.
Well, after we're done with quarantine, I'm sure we can go record the sequel. Didn't you say you were
damn
trying
right.
to get... All right, clarify something with me. You said in a message to me, and you kind of like passed over it. And I'm like, you don't just pass over this, you idiot. You said you were trying to get David Hayter, and for those who don't know who David Hayter is, he's the guy who did the voice of Solid Snake in the Metal Gear series before Kiefer Sutherland took over the voice. So, and you just kind of mentioned it like in passing. Oh, by the way, I'm getting David Hayter, and he like left. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, so that didn't happen. I mean, I was talking to him on. I reached out to him like 5 times on Twitter, and I wouldn't get a response. And he finally got back to me, and it seemed like it was going to happen, but it wasn't. He wasn't comfortable doing a non-union film. But
Gotcha.
yeah, otherwise it would have happened. But I did get DC Douglas, who did the bad guy in Resident Evil 5. He recorded a voice, and I also got the voice of Hitman.
What?
Hitman has a voice?
Yeah.
The video game?
He just sent the files to me today.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well,
Super
it's just
random.
So, are you creating a video game? What's happening here?
What project is this for?
It's for the sequel. It's just voice actors that have been in video games.
I did not know you were even making a sequel. What the heck?
Oh yeah.
Well, Joe, you would know that if you had seen the first one. Jeez.
Are you? So wait, hold on. So you're already recording. So you already have a script.
Yeah.
What are you doing animation wise? Are you going about this the same way? Or are you gonna just like do it
No.
by hand by yourself?
No. I have people from all around the world making things. I'm basically taking a back seat, and I'm just focusing on like the direction and like
Yeah.
putting the things together. But in terms of like the animation part and the building of environments, I'm leaving that to like the professionals and having them do all that. So I'm just kind of the overseer.
That's
Just
awesome.
a lot easier.
Cody's got a bunch of undocumented people working on his film right now.
Yeah. Let's shop.
They're very talented people. Like what I have so far is like light years better than what it was. It's absolutely incredible so far. So like I'm just like so eager to just keep moving forward. And I think like it's going to be done a lot faster and better, but
Nice.
it's going to be like twice the cost.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very expensive.
Well, and you know, a 16th of the time probably, right?
Right. Yeah. Which is still 8 years.
Yeah, that was my question. Is like how long are we talking here? Like when you say it's gonna be done much quicker. Well, it took 13 years for the first one. Are we talking like half that time? So we got 6-7 years to go.
Hopefully not. It depends on how many people I get on board. I have like one person on board for each step of the process. So like a character modeler, someone to do the rigging, the texturing, lighting, animation. So I have one person for each role so far. So if I get more people for each role, it'll go by that fast, much faster, but it's just going to cost twice as much.
I would assume it's pretty impressive what people can do out of their like home offices these days when it comes to animation.
Yeah.
It's
Like
incredible.
I'm sure some of these people are like on par with like Pixar animators that just like couldn't get a job with Pixar. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's absolutely insane. There's a guy that's doing environments for me in Canada. He gave me this one project. I rendered it out, and it looks crazy. Like, not crazy compared to, like, Pixar, but, like, compared to, like, what I'm used to looking at.
Yeah.
It's like night and day.
Are they using like the same program that you were using, or are they using completely different stuff?
No, so I'm getting away from what I was using. Rightly so. I'm total. Like I literally started. I was going back and forth. I was like debating. Like, should I just stay with what I'm comfortable with, or should I go outside my comfort zone and get into this new program? I was going back and forth, and then I was like, you know what? Because I started using it, and it started crashing on me again. I was like, dude, I cannot do this. Like, no more of this crap. So I just decided I'm going to graduate with the big boys and up the game.
What are you using?
Blender.
Okay. Yeah.
An actual blender,
Vitamix?
just
Blender.
Ninja Blender, you know.
You know, it's funny because like when you launched the movie, I've heard of Blender and I've like done some research on it because it's basically like free to use, right? Like
Yeah, it's free.
you just like download it and it's free and it's like amazing. It's like kind of crowdsourced software.
Yeah.
And I was doing some research into it just because it kind of piqued my interest. And yeah, it looks amazing. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah. It'd be all in Blender.
what I'm thinking is that this movie is going to turn into like between the first one and the second one, the progression is going to be like the opposite of the Mortal Kombat series. So your first one's going to be like Annihilation, and your second one's going to be like the first one.
I'm hoping it's like Terminator 1 and Terminator 2.
Fair enough. Maybe a better comparison.
Good
Not
and
the other way
better.
around.
The effects have just dramatically increased. You're like, holy crap, different movie.
Yeah.
So when should we all expect our scripts?
Yeah. And our pay.
It's already ready.
Yeah, Cody.
Well,
What parts are we doing?
Same roles. Gonna,
yeah,
Lies
our
or
characters.
deception.
what?
Well, lies and deception.
Lies and,
Excuse me.
the lies and deception.
What if I sent you a letter and I said I'm not comfortable working on something that's not union?
I'm like, who do you think you are, David Hayter? Don't be a hater, David.
Yes. Don't be a hater,
Don't be a
David.
hater.
Maybe one day you'll get him on. How does a union for audio recording? Wouldn't you just be like, I'll get to it when I get to it? I don't know. Like, if you're on a film set, it's totally understandable. But how does a union work with voice actors? Like, I don't get it.
I'm sure it's
I don't know.
I'm sure they have their own union.
I'd be very curious to see what the rules are, because I'm assuming you're recording like from your home. And if you're going to a studio, you're like, yeah, I'm here for 8 hours and that's it.
Dude, the guy that does Hitman's voice, his name is David, and I asked him, not expecting like a reply. It's like difficult to get in contact with some of these people, and like within literally like an hour, he got back to me and he was like super excited. He was like, "Yeah, I'd love to do it." I was like, "That's the craziest thing." I was like, "You have no idea how much of a fan I am of Hitman in that game." He's like, "I can't do the Agent 47 voice because I'll get in trouble with
copyrights,
other I was like, that's perfectly fine. Just do your own voice, but you can kind of tell that it's the same person when he talks. Just
That's
like a night and day.
awesome. Yeah.
Wow.
The voice actors union is SAG. It's the same union as the actors union. Yeah.
Like I can see them being under the same umbrella, but again, I feel like it's just different purview of what is required of you. Because if you're an actor, like I need to be on set, but if you're at home, it's like, yeah, I'll send you the voice. I'll send you the recordings when I get to it. It'll take me a week, maybe two at most.
Right.
So
you don't have to go to like a set.
Right. And it's like, yeah, if you just give me a due date, I could do that at this point. So yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there's got to be externalities that have happened, and it takes one person to ruin it for everybody. So, but yeah. Anyway, well, that's pretty crazy. But I think we are slowly running out of time on this podcast. But I think we will do some more of these while we're in quarantine. But for everybody out there who's been watching and listening to us, thank you for coming back and tuning in. We are definitely very busy, as you can tell. We're in quarantine, but not right now. We're not doing anything except watching Netflix, apparently, and trying to get Hitman to do our voices. Doing nothing. But thank you all out there for watching and listening. Of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're watching on there. If you're on SoundCloud and iTunes, just follow us there, or check us out on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. Joel, when was the last time we posted on Instagram?
Let's see, what year is it?
might be a legit question.
I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you anyway out there, everybody else. I guess we'll see you guys next time. Okay, thanks. Bye.
Bye.